A stuffy, steel air lingered inside the green train carriage. Zhang Yanyuo and Song Pingsheng sat side by side by the window, nearly 6 feet 3 inches tall. Song Pingsheng was naturally tall and straight, yet now he looked utterly drained, slumping limply against Zhang Yanyuo's shoulder in an awkward, hunched slouch, staring out at the rising morning sun. He spoke earnestly. Yanyuo, look at that huge, round sun. Doesn't it look just like a salted duck egg yolk? Zhang Yanyuo let out a cold huff and spooned Kangyi into his mouth. It does not. Drink your porridge. Even so, when the trolley vendor trundled past, she bought him a salted duck egg. Letting him take a tiny bite, the young girl sitting across could no longer hold her tongue. Big brother, is this lady your wife? Zhang Yanyuo froze mid-task. Before she could reply, Song Pingsheng drawled lazily, not yet. Unconvinced, the little girl pressed on. Why does she always do everything for you? At my house, Dad takes care of Mom. Gritting her teeth, Zhang Yanyuo cut in sharply. Because he's a sick jerk. Song Pingsheng burst into laughter, which quickly dissolved into a violent coughing fit. After a long moment, he calmed down, stopping her from calling for a steward with a weak shake of his head. Only after confirming there was no trace of blood did Zhang Yanyuo relax, letting him lean back against her shoulder once more. His tone was infuriatingly smug. "I'm just too good minus looking. I handle being the pretty one, so you have to work and provide for us." The little girl pouted. You're a bad man." Song Pingsheng said nothing, a soft smile playing on his lips as he slipped his hand beneath the small table to lace his fingers with Zhang Yanyuo's. Her hands were small, soft and warm, comfortable to hold and impossible to let go of. Glancing at the necklace strung from old Kenpo tabs around her neck, he murmured, "Be careful of bad men from now on." She turned her gaze away. "Aren't you one?" A tender smile curved his lips. "That's right. I married you with this pull tab along. Long time ago. Back then, the residential compound attached to the hospital was full of children who played together freely. Strangers or not, all except Song Pingsheng. He always watched quietly from the sidelines, spending 1 or 2 months at a time confined to the hospital, a beautiful yet motionless porcelain doll. A frail, sickly doll. Zhang Yanyuo was the fearless leader of the compound kids, having heard her parents speak of Song Pingsheng's fragile health countless times. She felt duty-bound to draw him into their circle. One day, they were playing house. She was the bride, and they needed a groom. On a whim, she ran straight to Song Pingsheng and invited him. "I don't want to play this game." He refused bluntly, staring at her frilly white dress. Tears pricked her eyes as she stamped her feet. "But I want to marry you today." His cheeks flushed crimson in an instant, his thick dark lashes fluttering like delicate fans, brushing soft breaths across her cheeks. She turned to run, only for him to catch her wrist. Flustered and red-faced, she stammered, "What are you doing?" Glancing left and right, he spotted a discarded Kenpo tab in the sand. After fumbling a few times, he slipped it gently onto her finger. "I don't have a wedding ring, will this do?" Staring blankly at the metal tab, she whispered. "Why yes." Pressing his lips together with the solemnity of a grown up, he said, "Then you're my bride now. Don't ever be sad." Chapter 2. Doctors were often transferred, bringing a constant stream of new faces to the compound. Only Song Pingsheng and Zhang Yanyuo stayed, bound together through the years, each other's one and only childhood sweetheart. Naturally, they fell in love. Years of quiet companionship blurred the start of their affection, leaving only the quiet, thumbing heartache of the present moment. A few years later, Song Pingsheng's parents died unexpectedly while on an emergency medical mission in Midog-Zizang. Left with no home, he was taken in by the Kainzhang family. He appeared eerily calm, yet heavy dark circles beneath his eyes betrayed his grief and exhaustion. Zhang Yanyuo trailed after him like a little shadow, watching as he packed his belongings in silence. Suddenly he turned, leaning against the guest room door. Miss Yang Yin Yuo, you've exceeded your visiting limit for today. Come back tomorrow. Holding a cup of warm milk high, she stood her ground. I brought you hot milk. It helps you sleep. She tried to slip past him into the room, taking the milk. He gently steered her back outside. Thank you, but you should rest too. The warm milk worked quickly, and Song Pingsheng drifted off. Yet in the dead of night, he jolted awake, trapped in nightmares of mudslides and casualties. This time, a hand found his at once, followed by a small, warm embrace wrapping tightly around him. It was Zhang Yanyuo. Hating anyone seeing his vulnerable side, he snapped harshly. Let go. No, she clung to him stubbornly. I know you're brave, but I'm scared. Too scared to sleep alone. The unexpected reply loosened his taut shoulders. He glanced down at her. What are you afraid of? Afraid you'll cry. Afraid you'll hurt. She answered without hesitation. And dim terrible at comforting people. Only Zhang Yin Yuo could say such silly words so sincerely, warming his aching heart. Silly girl. Bathed in moonlight, he gazed at her round eyes and pouting lips, his gaze softening into quiet indulgence before he knew it. Crushed by his parents' passing, Song Pingsheng was hospitalized again that year. His stay longer than ever before. Bored in his hospital bed, he tugged playfully at her ponytail. Yinuo, if a lost ant meets another ant and asks for help, how does it get back to its nest? An outdated cold joke, rolling her eyes. She replied, it crawls back. Wrong, he smiled, eyes crinkling. With a smile or in silence, you'll never smile. I'll cry until I go blind. Her fierce tone was a thin disguise. She knew perfectly well the Zhang's attempts to hide his worsening condition were futile. Pinching her cheek gently, he whispered, you'll never get the chance. You've been my bride since childhood, whether you liked it or not. Swatting his hand away, she stared firmly at him. I've kept that ring safe forever. It's mine for life. He smiled and looked away, unable to meet her earnest gaze. Chapter 3. School began at last. Thinner than ever. Song Pingsheng left the hospital weak but mobile. Days into the semester, her roommates dragged her to a student union dinner, claiming it would broaden her horizons. To her shock, Song Pingsheng was there too. Handsome as a child, his features sharpened with age. Having joined the sports department, he was the center of every girl's attention. Watching from the sidelines, Zhang Yin Yuo's heart soured with jealousy. When another girl leaned in to flirt with him, she snapped. Slamming her hands on the table, she stood abruptly. Please stop crowding around my boyfriend. Amid the classmates' teasing whispers, she grabbed his wrist and dragged him outside, releasing him only once they were alone. He teased her relentlessly. Who made you mad? Too gentle to hurt him, she stood on tiptoe and poked his forehead. It's you, you jerk. Shrugging with a mischievous grin, he asked. Are you sure? Screaming in frustration, she poured out all her suppressed feelings. You know I like you. Yet you let other girls get close. You have no heart. I hate you. Regret washed over her the second she finished. Opening her eyes timidly, she found him smiling not teasingly, but softly, tenderly, utterly indulgent. Ruffling her hair, he sighed. I only came because I heard you'd be here. You never waste time on this boring gathering otherwise. Blinking, she caught on quickly. Does that mean you like me too? Fine, yes, he chuckled, taking her hand to walk back to the dormitories. You're the only one for me. A quiet smile tugged at her lips. She needed nothing more than a simple, honest words to keep going. They attended the same university but different majors, with separate classroom buildings and few shared classes save for one mandatory PE lesson. When their PE class was replaced with a basketball match, Zhang Yanyuo rushed to the court the second class ended, finding Song Pingsheng warming up. Basketball was his only hobby, the sole sport his fragile body could barely manage. Bruised and sore after every game, he persisted anyway, for it had been his father's favorite pastime. Cherishing every small joy he had, she borrowed a loudspeaker and shouted across the court. Song Pingshan, you're stunning. I'm head over heels for you. Go Pingshan. Her clear voice drew every player's eye. Their rumored relationship was already well minus known, and her bold confession spread like wildfire. Hand on his hip, Song Pingshan tossed his basketball aside and walked over once she had finished shouting. Covering the speaker with his palm, he silenced her public declaration. Sweaty and flustered, she frowned. Move! Let me finish my confession. I won't stop you, he said, taking the speaker from her grasp. But I have a confession of my own. Turning back to face her, he lowered the volume and spoke gently. Xiang Yin, I'm already so deeply in love with you. Don't be any more charming, or it'll fall even harder. She had imagined grand, dramatic confessions, roses, tears, grand gestures. Yet his quiet words through a simple loudspeaker filled her heart, making her feel as if she'd been given the whole world. Chapter 4. The basketball game began. Both teams lacked skill, and petty fouls soon broke out. Tripped by an opponent's foot, Song Pingsheng fell hard, scraping his knee open. A minor injury for most athletes, yet for him, it was catastrophic. First aid supplies failed to stop the bleeding, blood pooling steadily on the concrete. Pale with terror, Zhang Yinyuo dialed emergency services with trembling hands, pulling him into her arms, terrified he would slip away forever. An ambulance arrived half an hour later, taking them both to the hospital with her parents. After a sedative injection, the doctor examined his wound gravely. His condition has worsened severely. Medication no longer works. No more sports. No more injuries. Even the smallest cut could be fatal. Without medicine to slow his decline, his body would weaken rapidly. Mr. Zhang asked, "What about radiation therapy?" Staring at the boy he treated for years, the doctor shook his head. Congenital blood factor deficiency is irreversible. His condition is unpredictable. Medication has delayed the inevitable long enough. More treatment will only bring unnecessary pain. Unpredictable illness was the cruelest fate of all. Zhang Yinyuo had grown up in hospitals. Well aware of the unspoken truth, when radiation failed, only fate remained. A single cold phrase to seal Song Pingshen's doomed life. Leaving her parents behind, she returned to his long minister war. Awake now. He waved his phone with a bright smile, showing her a text. Good news, my thesis passed the core journal review. The payout is huge. Eyes shining, he looked at her, forgetting his bleeding knee and the dark future ahead. Forcing a smile, she hugged his arm tightly. Wow, will you buy me a gift? Nothing fancy. Just a wedding ring. The light-hearted joke froze the air. Brushing her hair softly, he whispered, Yinyuo, let's go to Zizang. Zizang. His parents had died in a Midog mudslide. Their bodies never recovered. Only a stone monument, bearing the names of fallen medical workers. He had always longed to see the place for himself. The journey held countless dangers, altitude sickness, unforeseen accidents, no access to specialized medical care. She could list 1,000 reasons to refuse, yet meeting his hopeful gaze, she could not say no. It was his last wish, and she could not be selfish. Before their trip, she had to take the bar exam, his request. The exam came sooner than expected. Clinging to his side, she refused to enter the hall, thin and frail in an oversized shirt. He pressed a finger to her forehead. Go on. They'll take it next year. She tried to escape. How will you become a lawyer, earn money, and take care of me? He guided her firmly inside. No one could leave once the exam began. Clinging to the doorframe, she begged, wait for me right here. Don't move an inch. Backlit by blazing sunlight, he smiled softly. I promise. I won't leave. He'll stay right here, always. Chapter 5. Finishing her exam in record time. She raced outside. 40 minutes remained until dismissal, with only parents and taxi drivers waiting. Song Pingsheng was gone. Too afraid to leave in case he returned, she stood frozen, eyes watering, consumed by panic. She pictured him bleeding alone, collapsing in the street, gone forever. It was the longest they had been apart since childhood. As other candidates began to exit, he appeared at the street corner, holding her favorite milk tea. Road closures had forced him to walk miles to buy it. Tears spilled uncontrollably. Dropping her bag, she crouched on the sidewalk and cried, calling his name in broken sobs. Rushing over, he pulled her into his embrace. "Why cry? You'll look even uglier?" Wrapping her arms tightly around his waist, she whimpered, "I was so scared." Resting his chin on her head, he murmured, "I won't leave you quietly. I'll make you stay with me until the very end so you'll never forget me. We have a deal." On the way back, they passed a small accessory shop. Still teary-eyed aside, she nodded at a necklace in the window. "That looks just like the gift you're getting me." Without hesitation, he bought it for her in minutes. Fastening it around her neck, he smiled. "Beautiful." Grinning, she teased, "Thank you for complimenting me." "I meant the necklace," she huffed, choosing to ignore his teasing. The moment she reached her dorm, she threaded their childhood compulse tab onto the chain, wearing it close to her heart forever. It was her courage, her promise, their lifelong bond. The train's arrival announcement jolted her back to the present, waking the weary Song Pingsheng. They disembarked and met their pre-booked driver. Standing at the foot of Yawang Mountain, she stroked the pull-tab necklace silently. Lost in quiet prayer, oblivious, he took her hand eagerly, walking toward the Pula Palace. Magnificent and sacred in the morning light, the landmark towered toward the sky, filling the heart with reverence. Breathless and pale, Mina slipped from climbing steps. Song Pingsheng refused to stop. "My parents told me why they dedicated themselves to choosing missions. The Potala Palace holds the power of faith." Freezing in place, she squeezed his hand tightly, voice trembling. "They also told you to cherish me, to be gentle." "Ah, you have to listen." Seeing her red eyes, a sharp ache pierced his chest. He had been far too cruel to her. Smiling softly, he slipped an arm around her shoulders and walked slowly back down. Relieved, she decided to treat him to local yogurt, topped with a thick layer of cane sugar, a delicacy unique to Zizang. Bathed in daylight, his slender frame held a fragile, pale beauty, just as lovely as in childhood, even in sickness. Tugging her fingers gently, he whispered, "Thank you, Yin Yuo." Turning away, she swallowed her tears before he could see.